there and welcome to a new video. I'm going to be talking about the power of if. If you've actually used if before, you can skip this video. If not, hopefully you'll learn something from this. If you have learned something, please give it a like, because that will give other people an opportunity to find me on YouTube. Okay, here we go. So what is the power of if? So in Java, we have a if and then condition. The condition could be whatever the requirements are to move into the if statement. So for example, if the username is correct, if the password is correct, if the right door is open. And then once the condition has been met and it's true, then it does something. If a username is correct, then move on to the next stage, might be here. If the password is correct, it might be move on to something here, and so forth. So what I'll do is we'll go straight over to looking at IntelliJ and looking at Java, and we will explore what we can do with if. Okay, so this is where we were last time. So what I'll do is I'm actually going to stick with using comparisons, and we're just going to add a new class. And in this class, I'm just going to call it the power of if. Okay, so this is the power of if. Right, so what we have is we've got the class. What I'll do to start with, we'll put in a main method. My intentions in this application is to create a login script. So to get started, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up a couple of variables. So they're both going to be strings. So string username equals admin, and string password equals, and we'll have a password like that. So thinking this through, what we're going to do is we're going to have the user enter a username and password, hopefully get access to something. First of all, we need a scanner. So let's set up a scanner. I'm going to call it reader equals new scanner, and it's system.in. And you'll see that the library has already been imported at the top there, java.util.scanner. So what I want is the user to see something so that they know what to type in. So we're going to have an output simply saying enter username and a colon and a space. Now, because I'm going to put the colon and space in, that will imply that I want it on the same line. So I'm just going to make this a print. And then the user is going to enter something. So let's give this variable a name. So string entered username. Can't use username because we've already used that for the variable at the top there. And it's going to equal the reader dot next line. Finally, we're going to run an if statement just to check to see if the entered username is the same as the username. So simply do if, open bracket, it doesn't really matter which order we put it in, but I'm just going to do it username dot equals. And the reason why I'm using the equals rather than the double equals, well, if you want to know what that is, have a look 2 episodes before in comparing strings, and you'll see what that's all about. I'll put a link in the description below. Enter username dot equals, and then that's going to be enter username, like so. Now with an if, what happens is if this is true, then whatever's inside the braces, it will run. So in this case, it's just going to simply output entry correct. So let's have a look, see what we've got. So we've got 2 variables, string username equals admin. Then we introduce a scanner. We display on the screen the enter username. We then have a user enter an entered username string. And then what we're going to do is we're going to compare the username against the entered username. If they both match, entry correct. This is the comparison that we're going to use. If that is true, we run whatever's inside these braces. So I hit run, and then I'm going to type in the information correctly. There you go. So entry is correct. And just to show you what will happen if it's incorrect. There you go. So as you can see, it didn't display anything at all. And that's because I've not set a what happens if it's false. So let's go back to our program. We've got this if statement. That works if it's true. So whatever goes inside these braces is if the if statement is true. If it's false, we need to run what's called an else statement. So I'm going to put one of those in. So else, and I'm just going to say entry incorrect, like so. So if we run this, enter username, load of rubbish, entry incorrect. Okay, good. And just to make sure that the admin still works, we'll do that. There you go, entry correct. Okay, that's one step. What about if the user enters a capital A for admin? Well, it's saying the entry is incorrect, even though it does actually match. Well, it doesn't match entirely. Although it's an A, it's capital A, so they're both not exactly the same. What I would need to do is set up the system so that regardless of the case, whether it's lowercase or uppercase, that the user uses, the system should accept it. Okay, so in this case, what I'm going to do is, this is the bit, the reader.next line is the user entering the information. So actually, if I just hit the full stop, you'll see that I can have a to lowercase. So we're going to use the to lowercase. Okay, so what that does is, whatever the user enters is automatically made lowercase. And I'm going to show you what that would look like. So let's go to the end of this line. And I'll simply say user converted to, and then we will have the entered username. So let's just run that a moment. And I'm going to enter admin, all caps. And you'll see user converted to admin, lowercase. So regardless of the fact that I've actually got it in uppercase, it's still got it in lowercase. And it took every character and made them all lowercase. So I could even write it uppercase, lowercase, uppercase, lowercase, uppercase like this. A-D-M-I-N, like so. Press return, and you will see that it's converted it to all lowercase. So that works perfectly fine. There is another issue that users tend to do. If you forget to put the space after the colon in your statement up here, a user might actually put a space in, like so, and then type in what they think is the username. Press return. It's now going to say entry incorrect. That's because it's not the same. We've now got a space where we shouldn't have. To help the user, what I'm going to do is we're going to trim any spaces that occur before or after the word. It won't work if we put spaces in the middle. So I'll just show you what that looks like. Just to make sure that you're aware of it, we're going to say converted to, but it doesn't actually show you the spaces too well. So I'm going to put an exclamation at the beginning, and then I'm going to put another exclamation at the end, like so. So there's an exclamation, and then it'll be whatever the entered username is, and then another exclamation mark. And I'm going to run it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold down the spacebar and type in the word admin, like so. Press return, and it's actually removed the space at the beginning. And just to show you that it will work at the end, we'll do it again. I'll put some spaces at the beginning, admin, spaces at the end, press return, and you'll see that the spaces have been removed. However, if you type in add and min like that, then that, although it will remove any spaces at the beginning or the end, it won't remove the spaces in the middle. So you can't fix everything. Now that we have got the username done, let's sort out the password. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these two lines here, copy them, and paste them here. Okay, so I'm going to change this to password, and where we've got entered username equals, I'm going to put in enter password equals. And I'm going to get rid of this to lowercase and to trim, because if a user, well, let's just say the password is case sensitive, we're not going to want it all lowercase, because that kind of eliminates the case sensitivity. And also there might be spaces in the password, in which case we don't want them removing those either. So whatever the user enters is going to be the password. We also don't need this line anymore, so I'm going to get rid of this line too. We know that if this here is true, then it will run whatever's inside the braces. If the username is true, I could put another if statement in here. So if password dot equals, and then enter password, and then have something in here saying entry correct. Okay, like that. So what we'll do is we'll check to see if the username's correct. If it's correct, then we then check to see if the password is correct. And if the password is correct, then we run this entry correct. run that for you a moment just to show you. Admin, password, exclamation mark, entry correct. Brilliant. So that works. This is what we call a nested if statement. This is an if statement inside another if statement, just like nested dolls. It's a nested loop. This works really well. As you can see, it did do the job. There is a problem though. What if I incorrectly type something in? So I've got the username correct. But what if I type in the password wrong? Nothing happens. Now the reason why nothing happens, if we scroll down a bit, let's just get rid of this information here. If we look at this if statement that we've got, what we're saying is if this is true, then run whatever inside the braces. And as you can see, we've got all this going on inside the braces. If the username is incorrect, then we run this else statement. So we run the else statement only if the username is incorrect. So if the password is incorrect, there's nothing for it to run, because if this is true, it won't run this else. So this isn't particularly good. Well, what I could do is I could, as a nested if, I could have an else inside of here. So I could do something like else. Let's have a couple of braces. And then what we'll do is we'll just simply copy and paste that inside of here like so. Let's run that. Enter username, admin, password. Brilliant. That works, but it's a bit messy up here. Well, if you remember in one of my previous videos, I talked about the operands. So that's the and, or, and not. So what I could do is I could take out this if statement altogether, like so, and I could take out this brace up here. I have to be very careful doing that. So let's just take out the brace, like so. Let's move this over to here. Okay, so that bit's working, only I don't want that bracket there. I don't want the close bracket to be there. I want the close bracket to be at the end over here. So I'm going to need to put in another close bracket. Let's do that. There you go. Inside of here, I need that operand. Now I'm not going to use or. The reason why I'm not going to use or is because if we say username equals entered username, and that's incorrect, password equals enter password, that's correct. Because it's an or, if it's true and false or false and true, it will still be true. Okay, and if you're not sure about that, a couple of videos ago I talked about that. So if we pop the or in, if the user entered the right password and the wrong username, or the right username and the wrong password, it will still give them entry. We don't want that. It has to be the and. So we use two ampersands like so. So entry is correct. We don't need this else here, and we don't need this brace here either. Okay, because we've got that closing brace up there. So let's just do that. Let's run this and see what happens. So enter username, admin, capital P, AWS, WORD, exclamation, entry correct. Brilliant. So that works. Let's try a incorrect username, but we'll put in the right password. Okay, entry incorrect. Good, that's working. What about the right username, wrong password? Entry incorrect. Fantastic. Final test is incorrect password, incorrect username and incorrect password. Brilliant. So that's passed the test. So as you can see, that's worked fine. So we've got the username and the password correct to display the entry correct. To get the entry incorrect, it's either the username or the password is incorrect, or both are incorrect, in which case then it will display this. That works perfectly fine. Okay, so that is using an if or else. In my next video, I'm going to show you how to use the if else. If you have learned something from this video, please give it a thumbs up, as that allows other people to easily find me on YouTube. Something to do with the algorithm. And if you haven't already done so, please subscribe to my channel and I'll be posting more material in the future. If you hit the little bell icon, you will be notified as soon as I posted a new video up. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed this and I will see you again. Bye bye.